What's up, everyone? The Sonic fan here, and welcome everyone back to some more Let's Talk Sonic. I bet you thought we canceled it. I bet you thought we canceled it. With me, as always, I got my co-host Gamebox.
Hey guys, I like Sonic. You guys know that, right? I like Sonic. I like Sonic.
We like Sonic. We like Sonic. We like Sonic. We love Sonic. But yeah, so the reason I said you guys probably thought we canceled is because for those of you who are observant, you probably noticed that there wasn't a episode last week. You're probably wondering what that was all about. Yeah, well. Basically, long story short, I'm a lazy bastard. But long story version of it is I just wasn't feeling up to it. I was feeling kind of unmotivated. Just was kind of down last week. I wasn't really doing a whole lot. I hadn't really uploaded a lot. So if you're noticing a huge influx on uploads, if you're watching this on the channel, which as of right now is the only way to watch this, then yeah, that's because I am finally getting back to daily uploads again, which is really good. But yeah, we're here. We're here with another episode, and it's Liddy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, as always, we're going to talk about the news very briefly, and then we're going to transition to the main topic of today's episode. So Gamebox, did you know that the Sonic movies are garbage?
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently they're awful. I didn't know that until I went on Twitter like the last week, and yeah, they're pretty bad.
But I went to see the movies. They can't be garbage. I watched them more than twice. They can't be garbage. Surely they can't be garbage.
No, they're awful, fam. And but you know what's gonna be amazing instead of Sonic movies?
What's gonna be amazing?
Mario movie. Mario movie, because the Mario movie, Mario movie is animated. It brings a lot of the tracks from the games into the actual film. It's definitely a lot more faithful to the source material than the Sonic movies are. And overall, it just looks like a really amazing adaptation. So therefore, I don't think we can like both. So I think we can just go ahead and write off the Sonic movies and just call them garbage. And the people who made them had ill intentions when making them. I didn't really care at all about the games that inspired them. And yeah, there's Cash Cows. That's just Smurfs, but with Sonic.
Yeah, I mean, what's a Sonic, right? Sonic? What kind of name is that? That sounds
Sonic was never good.
Oh yeah, guys, this is the... Actually, let's be honest with ourselves. This never really worked. This was never going to be like this big franchise type thing. It just doesn't. It falls flat on its face and all that type of crap.
I wish I could quote that IGN Unleashed review, like the guy they're opening. I don't know the exact quote. Like before you go out and waste your hard-earned money on on Sonic Unleashed, just know that this game is a piece of garbage or whatever crap he says. Obviously we're memeing, guys. Obviously we're memeing. If you couldn't tell, it was very limited in what news we could talk about because nothing's happened. Okay, we took a 1 week break, and still in the last 2 weeks at the time of recording this, nothing has went on at all. Nothing's been announced. There's nothing that's been going on Twitter. Nothing. So I picked the 3 topics that I either forgot to cover, 2 weeks ago, or we just haven't really dived into. But yeah. So with the more trailers the Mario movie is getting, and the closer it is getting to its release, the movie looks awesome. We all doubted it back when we saw the casting. Everyone memed on it. It was just common knowledge. The Mario movie a gigantic failure. It's going to be soulless garbage made by Illumination, who already doesn't have a solid track record. But no, despite everything, despite the weird casting, despite despite Illumination working on it, this movie looks like a fun time, and that generally makes me happy. I've never touched Mario. I have absolutely no horse in this race. I don't really care that much about the series, but as like a casual gamer, I wouldn't say I'm a casual gamer, but as a gamer, this looks like a really, really fun time, and I'm definitely gonna go see it. Maybe not in theaters, but I'll wait till like I can like get it on DVD or like see it on a streaming service or something, because it looks fun. But yeah, with that though, a lot of people are looking at the Mario movie and now looking at the Sonic movies and being like, wow, the Sonic movies are awful, because they're making a lot of comparisons, which some of them is justified, where it's like the movie's OST is bland and boring, but some of them are also just off. People are now have a problem that it's live action instead of animated, or there's not enough game elements in there, and it's just breadcrumbs instead of like full on like recreations of stories like Adventure 1 and 2. And overall, a lot of people, basically Sonic fans, are turning on the movies. When the movies first came out, when movie 1 first came out, when movie 2 first, it's actually kind of poetic. When movie 1 first came out, everyone, sung its praises and thought it was amazing. Then when movie 2 came out, everyone sung its praises and thought it was amazing, and then trashed on movie 1. And now the Mario movie coming out, now people are trashing on movie 2 and saying both movies are awful. Mario movies looking amazing. So like we just can't like more than one thing at once. But yeah, what do you think of this game box? Now that people are starting to, and now that the fandom is starting to effectively turn to movies, and kind of just call them like soulless, or at the very least wasted potential instead of being like a more faithful recreation, I guess.
Do you know what the Mario movie doesn't have that Sonic movie has?
Hmm.
I wonder what that may be. A main lead that can actually be the character?
No, we're not gonna take 30 shots. Okay, we're not gonna take 30 shots. Okay, leave my boy Chris Pratt alone. I mean, that is something the Sonic movie does have. At the very least, Ben Schwartz sounds more like Sonic than Chris Pratt sounds like Mario. I guess that's one of the things that we win in that fun.
Yeah, we actually got the main character sounding like the character he's playing.
Yeah. But like, so do you agree with like people like? Okay, so I actually am very curious because this is an interesting issue that's being put forth. Do you? So how much to an extent do you agree that the Sonic movies should be more faithful, if at all? Like, are you completely fine with the movies we've gotten, or are you now looking at the Mario movie and seeing how that is very, very, very faithful representative of the games, and you're looking at Sonic and kind of wishing, you wish you had a Sonic counterpart to that. You wish you had like more of an animated, faithful film. I'm actually really curious. Or do you think the movies are just fine and don't need any like changes?
I think the movies are just fine the way they are. I'd say for 3 and the others, just focus more on the Sonic characters. Like, as much as I love Tom and Maddie and stuff, but I don't really want the human elements to be in it. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the humans are fine. I say some, but yeah, just please, just put the attention forward to Sonic, please. Sonic and Shadow and all that jazz.
I completely. It's because I hooked my PS5 to Discord, and now my mic doesn't sound completely like garbage. It doesn't sound amazing, but it sounds completely like garbage. So we found a solution. It wasn't me spending $50 on a new mic. It was PS5 having a new update. I'm glad I got that new mic though, because it's better for voiceovers. But yeah, no, I agree with what you said. I like the movies just the way they are, and it's just I hate the mentality on Twitter where you're not allowed to think of anything with a nuanced like approach, and everything has to just be concrete and like summed up in 2 sentences. Like, guys, I just want to say this. I think the Sonic movies are just fine. Like, would I have wanted a 2-hour long animated feature that hugely takes place and like I can't speak, my brain's crashing. My brain's freezing up. Would I have wanted a 2-hour animated feature that takes place in the game world and like has a lot of game elements, and it has more faith in the source material? Yeah, sure. But just because the Sonic movies that we do have aren't that, doesn't take away from their quality. Like, people are like saying the movies are bad because of something they aren't, instead of what they are. And I think as casual, like, just kid films that like, kind of adapts, like loosely adapts like the games that inspired it, while simultaneously offering a new enough story to, kind of just stand on its own 2 legs. I think they're completely fine. They're just fun. they're fun. I don't need Sonic Movie 3, having every stage from Angel Island, having Angel Island to begin with, or having like Egg Emperor or whatever. I think it's just fine as it is. It's just a fine movie. I don't need Sonic Movie 1 having, every Batnik design that to ever, show up. I don't need it to introduce all the Chaos Emeralds or whatever, or have Sonic's characterization pinpoint to where it is in the games. It's its own separate medium, and it's its own separate story. And for what it is, like, when you take it out for what it is, like, on its own, I think they're fine. They're fine. It don't have to be, a Sonic movie doesn't have to be one thing. It can just because it's not what you personally would have wanted, doesn't make it overall bad.
Yeah. completely agree. I also don't really like the whole thing where it's like, I think can't remember if I heard someone say it was going to be a lot of references in the Mario movie or something like that, and I'm like, but a reference doesn't references. They are cool, but they don't really make a good movie because there can be references, but the movie can still be bad. Like for example, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. In my opinion, I don't really like the film. Like it's not terrible per se. It's just somewhere in between bad and decent. It's kind of like, ugh, that's just a film. But yeah, it's just mainly story and characters. I'm mainly focused on like the soundtracks. Like a bit of the soundtrack's already been released for the Mario movie, and I absolutely love it. But Sonic movie didn't really. The first Sonic movie didn't use a lot of references, but it was still a good movie.
Yeah. And like the thing that annoys me about this bird site is I don't get why these two films just can't coexist. I don't understand it. And a lot of people are like taking that sentence that I just said and kind of memeing on it because they're like, oh, Sonic fans are hypocrites. They were trashing on the Mario movie and having hashtag Sonic streaks and stuff. But now that the Mario movie is looking better than the Sonic movies, they're like, oh, why can't they just coexist? Everyone thought the Mario movie looked awful. Like everyone. It wasn't just like a whole Sonic community thing. No, literally everybody was memeing on the Mario movie when we first saw that casting and whatever. It wasn't like a Sonic versus Mario thing. It was literally just like everyone's consensus of the film. And then once the film started looking good, everyone was like, "Oh, wait, no, this is starting to look good." I personally don't see the side of the Sonic fandom they're talking about that's like trashing on the Mario movie mindlessly. I'm sure they exist. But no, I don't think that's like as prominent as people are making it out. And people have been saying it from the get go. Just why can't we just like both films? Why can't we just like the Mario movie for what it's doing and its approach to the games? And why can't we like the Sonic movies for what they're doing and their approach to the games? I think they're completely fine. And like as when you take them for what they are, like the Sonic movies are completely fine. They don't have to, be one for one recreations. Like I hear the same thing thrown around with every Resident Evil film adaptation that's ever been made. Gamebox can't relate, so I'm gonna get off the topic because I know you don't really know a lot about Resident Evil. But like Welcome to Raccoon City, the film that we got in 2021, it was literally like super. It was absurdly faithful to RE1 and 2. Like sure. The original games, RE1 and 2 didn't take place in the same time. Sure, there were some slight changes, like Boken's relations to the main characters and Chief Irons and all that. But I would say for the most part, especially in terms of like location and just costumes, like it was literally as close to like a one-for-one recreation of the like first two games as you could possibly get. And yet people still like rammed on it for not being quote unquote faithful enough. And it's like if that film had any problem, it was the fact that it was too faithful. Like I don't know how to these people, like the way they come off, it's like they want to see every cutscene to a game just shot for shot remade in live action. That's literally like what their ideal film sounds like. Like when I watch a adaptation, like for instance, The Last of Us adaptation just finished. When I watched the adaptation, yes, I wanted to remain faithful. I wanted to have a lot of elements from the source material, but at the same time, I want enough new things in there. So like it feels like I'm watching like a separate experience. And I don't think it has to be like entirely faithful too. It can do enough new. It can do a lot of new things and you be loosely faithful. It can be super faithful and do a little new things. Like it doesn't have to be like a one for one recreation. That's just where I stand in terms of video game adaptations in general.
Yeah, honestly, I completely agree. Although, in my opinion, I would say you can have an adaptation that can be inaccurate at times. Like, in my opinion, it's not that bad to have an adaptation that removes some elements. Like, for example,
I completely agree.
Yeah, like for example, my favorite film. My favorite film's kind of split at the moment. Don't question me. My favorite film was Batman Returns. It's not really accurate. It's not as accurate to the comics, but it's still a good film. Like not like character like the characterization isn't really spot on from the comics, which is okay. It's just down to story and how likable they are. It just doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be something like, "Oh, this is a bad movie because it's like inaccurate to the comics." It's like no. It's like in my opinion, casual audiences won't really care. Like they're going into a movie to watch the movie. Like sometimes the
You just
characters
made me. Oh my bad. Keep going.
Oh, it's fine. Sometimes some people can make the defense of, well, sorry, what am I saying? These defenders could have a backup saying, well, pretty much, well, this could be the point where they're getting into the character. Well, it's still not good enough. Well, it's like, all right, I got into Batman through through the fucking Lego stop motion shit. And was that accurate to the comic? Not really, no. It had Batman fucking killing, for Christ's sake. And my first Batman film I ever fucking watched was '89. So there you go.
Yeah. No, you maybe that the same people who are molding over every video game adaptation, not being like one for one faithful to the game, are the same people, are the same comic book nerds who will see like Superman frown and just like lose their minds, being like, "This isn't accurate to the comics," or they'll like see like one slight change in the MCU and be like, "This isn't accurate to the comics," or whatever. It's just like accuracy does not always mean quality. Like that's the thing.
No.
Like accuracy is good. I'm not trying to say like if you're adapting something, you shouldn't care about what you're adapting. You shouldn't really like follow the source material. Like no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying like you should follow the source material, but like it doesn't matter to the extent in which you follow the source material. As long as like there's enough there to be respectful to the source material, but at the same time adding enough new things to make it like stand out on its own, that's completely fine. While I'm throwing out bad take after bad take, I love the Uncharted movie. The Uncharted movie is one of the best video game adaptations I've ever seen in my life. And people can fight me on that. Yeah, sure. Tom. I almost said Tom Hardy. Tom Holland looks nothing like modern day Nathan Drake, and sure, Mark Wahlberg looks nothing like Sully. Yeah, no, I agree. Still, like as its own thing, it's a freaking kick-ass film that I think embodies at the very least the spirit of Uncharted. And yeah, I think it works. I have not seen a compelling argument as to why the Uncharted movie is bad. People just like say, "Oh, Mark Wahlberg, ew," but like they don't actually like bring up like reasons in its plot or reasons in like the actual film as to why the movie is bad. It's just yeah. So I just think we should like just take a chill pill and be a lot more relaxed. Because guess what? The audience score to that movie was through the roof. A lot of casual audiences enjoyed it. A lot of the audience saw like a random Tom Holland movie coming out, went to go see it, maybe with like the crushes or whatever, and yeah, loved it because as its own thing. If you're not a Uncharted nerd and you're just enjoying it as its own thing, it's a fun movie. So I don't think we have to just be mold. And I think the same way about the Sonic movies. Like there's a bunch of kids. When I went to see movie one, there were a bunch of like tiny little kids in my theater, and the games that they had to grow up with is things like Forces, Lost World, Boom. Okay, they probably don't really know like what makes a good Sonic story or like how good the lore is and the world building and such. But guess what? They all loved it. They were all cheering. They loved the movie. Like yeah, something can just appeal to casual audiences and be fine and like still like pay enough respect to like what inspired it. And I just think we're being too strict regarding like the criteria of what makes a good adaptation.
Yeah, that's why whenever there's like people making films, or like for example, if I were to make a film and if someone goes, "Hey, would you like to make an adaptation on something?" I'd be like, "Nah, you're fine." Reason why is because, well, of course, there's the phrase "you can't please everyone," which is completely fine. But sometimes there are properties that you don't really connect with, and of course, people can make the excuse, "Well, why did they go with it if it doesn't connect them?" Well, creativity. That's it. They see them in another light, and again, it's not really a bad thing. Sometimes it's done well, sometimes it's not done right. But again, it doesn't really matter. It kind of does matter in some areas, but I feel like some people just overreact, like just focus on like the accuracy way too much. It's like, okay, I get it, just doesn't matter in a few areas.
Yeah, like just to like just sum it up, if something is good, it doesn't like that's all that matters. Like even if it's inaccurate, as long as it's like good on its own, then like screw accuracy. That's really what I say. Like and for all these people who like disagree with me, I cannot wait. Like I will literally make a compilation of a bunch of like popular, well-known, beloved movies that they probably love, and then just bring up how they completely are nothing alike the book. Like I could probably like find someone who disagrees with me who loves the Starship Trooper movie, and then I'll give them the book and be like, "Yo, you still think it's a great adaptation?" Like, like there's so many like popular things that strays away from what the source material did. That doesn't make it bad. Like just having changes and being new doesn't make it bad. As long as it stands good on its own, and who cares? But yeah. Also, if you're a fan of like most films in the MCU, then you do not care about comic accuracy. I'm sorry, you do not care about accuracy of the source material. Just, and that's not a bad thing. But yeah, no, just don't take that stance. You won't win.
Off topic, you mentioned Uncharted and all that earlier. I'm actually starting to get into Uncharted.
Yes. Freaking Gamebox is having a gaming renaissance. All right, he's getting hooked on Naughty Dog's stuff. He's getting hooked on Uncharted. He's getting hooked on Last of Us, bro. I'm proud. I'm happy.
I mean, I got into Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's fucking amazing. I love Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I gotta play that at some point. I have a friend who played it, but I can't remember what he thought of it. If I remember correctly, I think he raged at it. but,
wow.
But yeah. No, it's a skill issue. He sucks at video games. Brandon, if you're somehow watching this, just know that I'm talking about you. You suck. All right. So, yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about this topic before we move on, Gamebox?
No, nothing else to say. I think I'm ready to move on to the next topic.
Okay, bet. So yeah, and for those of you wondering, I deliberately chose this next one to come after the one that we just went on because I'm petty. The next thing we're going to talk about is Sonic Movie 2 winning Best Family Picture. No, winning Favorite Film at Kids' Choice Awards. Yeah! Oh, Vicky, I knew exactly what I was doing putting this after the topic we just talked about. Yeah, screw all you haters, bro. Sonic Movie 2 is a good film. Kids obviously loved it because, spoiler alert, you don't have to be a game nerd to like make an objective judgment on the movie. No. Yeah, people of all ages liked it. People from a wide variety of the fandom liked it. People who don't know jack crap about Sonic and people who are Sonic experts loved it. It's a great film. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, to those people saying, "Oh, it's not really a good film, and the Mario movie's going to be better," well, we'll just have to wait and see because if Mario wins awards, that's cool. But if Mario movie doesn't win an award, but Sonic Movie 2 does.
But yeah, no, real talk. Actually, I don't. Mario movie could be better than like I feel like that's a fear that like I have of like people like watching this like thinking I'm taking a side of Sonic. No, I'm not taking any sides. I'm saying like both can be great, and I bet the Mario movie might be not only more faithful but probably more entertaining and better and probably perhaps funnier than like the Sonic movies are. And I'm just saying like that doesn't mean we have to devalue like the accomplishments that the Sonic movies have. It's just we can just appreciate both, and also I want to also validate the people who are not like like being toxic about it, but saying, "Hey, yo, in the movie, I'm seeing like Bowser represented pretty faithfully. I'm seeing a lot of like music, from the games being here. I'd love to see that in Sonic Movie 3. I'd like to see them like take more inspiration. That's completely fine. That is valid, and yes, I agree with everything people are saying. I'm not like trying to like." I'm not trying to hate on the people who are being like fair and critical about it. I'm just hating on the people who are being toxic and saying the movies are garbage because it's not the Mario movie.
Again, we're only targeting the toxic people, not the people who have an opinion.
Yeah, just wanted to throw that clarification out there. All right, and just anything you want to say about movie 2 winning favorite film at Kids' Choice Awards?
Yay! I'm so happy.
Yeah. Okay, Maddie has to bake a cake. Okay, she baked one in the first movie for Tom. She has to bake one for movie 2 winning.
I'm not gonna lie, right? It feels like yesterday I just went to the cinema and went and saw Sonic 2. Like, dear Lord, it feels like yesterday.
Oh my god, yes, it did not feel that long ago. It's about to have like its 1 year anniversary come April. But yeah, no, fucking kick-ass film. I love it. I think what, for its anniversary, whichever like Wednesday is closest to that day, me and you just need to do an entire episode where we just talk about Sonic Movie 2 and just like kind of do like a unscripted kind of review of it. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, we should, because we had the first reveal. We had the first review, which was scripted, but the second film should be more fun without the script.
Yeah, we can go wild, but all right, yeah. So the next for the final news topic, and like I said, there wasn't a lot of pickings, guys, because literally nothing. It's been radio static these last 2 weeks. Okay, nothing's happened. We're still waiting for Frontiers update. But this one actually comes from the man, the myth, the legend, Moyo Kishimoto, who says there's a lot more new 2D Sonic games incoming. And obviously, this is old news. A lot of you are going to point out that this is news, but like I said, man, for one, we didn't do an episode last week, and then two, the episode that we did the week before that, I didn't acknowledge it, so now I'm acknowledging it now. Moyo Kishimoto has said that he's obviously said this. Like like it wasn't him. It was Takashi Iizuka who said like he wants to make classic Sonic just as prominent as modern Sonic is, and feed the classic Sonic fans. And yeah, Moyo Kishimoto is saying like the next. So now we know like the next Sonic game is indeed going to be made by the same people who made Sonic 4, who made Sonic Generations 3DS. I'm pretty sure basically the people who made all the portable Sonic games and Sonic ports are going to be working on this. And yeah, that's basically it. That's tell me we got more 2D Sonic games incoming, and the next Sonic game is going to be developed by them. Obviously, not the next mainline one. I just want to clear that up. But then the freaking Frontiers 2 is not going to be developed by the people who made Sonic. No, it's just the next official title we're going to see is made by them. So, what are your thoughts, Gamebox?
I'm really sorry. Pardon me. I'm really looking forward to like future 2D Sonic titles in the future, because I mean, if you really think about it, like as much as Sonic Mania is a really cool game, there are elements of it that do take in like the older levels like Green Hill and all of that. And it's just really interesting to see what direction they're really gonna take with a future 2D Sonic game. And it's not like Sonic 4 people making this. Like this could be Christian Whitehead or something like that. And I'm all up for that, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes.
And please be
I
like
don't.
Sonic 3.
No, you go.
Please be like Sonic 3, please.
Oh yes. I don't understand. Like Sega don't realize how lucky they are that they have a man like Christian Whitehead just lying around and they're not using him at all. If I was Sega, I'd be having the same model of modern Sonic games that they have right now. Where they take 5 years to develop like each one, 5 to 6 years, how much time it takes. And between that time, we have other stuff going on like Prime, movies, DLC. But to keep people even more occupied, in between those gaps, we're gonna have Kristen Whitehead 2D games, like at one or two in between each gap of a mainline game, and that'll be something that Sonic fans can look forward to and eat up in that time. And then those games will be critically acclaimed like Mania was. Like I don't understand why we can't just have Mania sequels releasing while we wait for Frontiers 2. Honestly, I'd trade that in for Frontiers DLC. A lot of people are getting the Sonic community is spoiled. A lot of people are saying, "Yo, it's taking too long. You might as well scrap the DLC or whatever." Like I'm not saying that at all. Really looking forward to this DLC. I cannot wait to be able to play as Tails and Frontiers and Knuckles and Amy. It all looks great, but I'm just saying I would like this model way more if we got more 2D games releasing like in between these gaps. I just think it's a huge wasted opportunity. And I know we got Sonic Origins Plus that's basically confirmed coming out, but that's more of an expansion of an already existing game rather than like original. And I know like they can fingers and just pump out a 2D game. I know a 2D game takes time, care, and development, and that's what led to Origins being as criticized as it was. It was definitely rushed. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't take as much time as a modern mainline game does, and we could have at the very least one release in between a gap of mainline in between the gap between two mainline games. But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. But yeah, that pretty much does it for all the news of this episode. Yeah. This week, unless like Jupiter explodes or like got a meteorite coming out, then I don't know what news we're gonna be talking about. Okay, freaking Frontiers update needs to come now. I'm so surprised the Frontiers update. Like, look, I don't want to like undervalue the hard work that it takes to like that goes into game development. I know it takes time for all this stuff to come out, but it's just. With the second update, being Sonic's birthday, which will be, June 23rd, It's weird how we're in March and we still have no sign of the first batch of content releasing. That's weird to me because how will they have time to make the second batch in time for Sonic's birthday if we still haven't had the first one yet and it's March? And you know what?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, where's Sonic Prime? Like, I don't like that. There's just Netflix. I hate you. First, you canceled Resident Evil Netflix because people are racist and people didn't even watch the show and jump to conclusions. All right, and now you're can't. But I'm sorry for all the Resident Evil references, guys. And now you're freaking holding off on all the like Sonic Prime like episodes. Like they all of them are finished and they just aren't releasing them. Release them! I thought we'd have them by now in March, man. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. I just want to continue the show. You know, Shaka, I was really like, no, I was really invested. I thought it looked pretty. Sure, it wasn't like amazing, and I don't think it should be canon at all to mainline games because it makes too many contradictions. But I think it was a good show. I don't understand why we haven't seen a second season. Sorry.
That's fine.
All right. Yeah, with all the news over, now we can actually venture into the main topic of today's episode, which I'm pretty interested in. And that is the topic of remasters. So obviously, we've gotten some Sonic remasters recently, and there are still a lot of Sonic games that have yet to get that remaster treatment and such. So we're just going to be talking about the subject in general. I think this is a really interesting subject because I've seen a lot of interesting perspectives on it. And yeah, so Gamebox, how do you feel about the recent remasters that we have had? Because, you know, we have Ultimate, then we had Sonic Origins. I can't think of any remasters other than that, but I mean, that's basically 5 games, 4 classic games that have gotten, you know, the remaster treatment to newer hardware. So how do you feel about those 2 examples?
Origins I still haven't really played, but as for Sonic Colors Ultimate, I'd say it's a pretty good remaster. Well, I haven't played the original one, but I'd say my only criticism is, well, I don't know if there's like, I don't know if it's part of the whole level designs because there are areas, there are moments in the stages where you can see the platforms like shaking a bit. So when I go on it, it's like, oh, is this maybe like one of those things where it just shakes and it falls down? But yeah, but that's probably one of my that's probably like a copy I've got, but I don't think you experience something like that with your copy. But I think remasters for Sonic can really work, but again, Sega does have a bit of a history with releasing stuff completely unfinished with glitches and stuff. Like there's the whole Sonic the Hedgehog for the GBA, and that was panned. Like no.
Oh man, Sonic Genesis. Oh no.
Yeah. Sonic the soundtrack for the GBA was redone. It was awful. The Sonic feels more slow. Bugs and glitches are everywhere. It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Sorry.
How do you remaster your first game and fuck it up? How do you do that?
Not only that, but it was for Sonic's like what was it? It was his 15th anniversary. Guys, I don't think like people realize how bad the 15th anniversary of Sonic was. Okay, like it was already bad with 06 being the main like, you know, celebration point. But in that same anniversary, we also had Sonic Genesis for the Game Boy, and we had Sonic and the Secret Rings. Okay, those 3 games released for Sonic's 15th anniversary. I cannot imagine a worst possible celebration. We have like a broken mess that ruined the reputation of Sonic forever. We have a downright horrendous port, and we have a game that just downright doesn't function when you try to like control Sonic. And like it's crazy to me. Oh, yeah. And guys, there's a pattern, okay? 15th anniversary, awful. 20th anniversary, awesome. 25th anniversary, awful. 30th anniversary, awesome. Guys, when we get to the 35th anniversary, oh no. Oh no, oh no. The pattern might continue.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Oh yeah, are you done with your thoughts on the recent remasters we've gotten?
Yeah. It's just... It's pretty much somewhere from it's pretty good to holy fucking shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same agreement about you know, Sonic Colors and Origins. No one's gonna argue that those two games weren't rushed. They definitely were, but for the most part, they came out as experiences. I think the hate and like the shock around Colors Ultimate was completely over exaggerated. I do think that people did experience glitches. I do think it was buggy on launch, and we shouldn't be quiet about that. It was right for people to like criticize them for it. But people say it was a busted, broken port. It would even make comparisons to like games like '06 and Rise of Lyric, and I do not see that. Okay, for the Switch version, maybe, but for the console version, I played mine on launch, and I continue playing it. I till this day have not experienced a single issue at all, like a single glitch. I think I experienced like one tiny one, but like I was going super fast, and like the camera like kind of like jazzed out because I was going really fast. Other than that like brief instance, I have not experienced a single glitch with my game. I don't even think it's ever crashed like before. Like the game has been really stable, really solid on my end. I haven't experienced any issues with it. I'm not saying just because I haven't any issues. Other people haven't experienced any issues, but I think the game wasn't as broken. If it was a mess like '06 or Rise of Lyric, I definitely would have like noticed something. But no, I didn't experience any issues from what I played. And then Origin, yeah, no, it was rushed. There weren't as many cool features as we were hoping. I don't get what was the point of including a classic mode if it wasn't really a classic mode and it didn't have the original animations and look, and it didn't have the like classic moves and stuff. Yeah, I do think there's a lot of valid criticism for Origins, and I get why people wouldn't like it, but I personally thought it was a fun enough collection. Like, if you recall what I said in my 2022 was the year of Sonic video, where I basically just talked about the year that we had last year regarding Sonic. I think the objective of that game wasn't to like appeal to hardcore fans and offer them like a never before experience of like all these classic games. I think the sole intent was just to like have it exist. So the newer generation can actually grow up with these classics and play them like easily on accessible hardware. So yeah, I think that was the point. It was just introducing the classic games to a newer generation. Also having some things for new players, like, the whole token system and all the extra unlockables and all that, and the animated cutscenes. And I think for the most part, it is job pretty well. Like, sure it could have been better, but I feel, I don't know how I feel saying this because it could definitely be misinterpreted and it could definitely be used in the wrong situation. But in this specific case, I do think like the standards for what this game should have been were set like too high, like unrealistically high. Like I thought for the most part, it wasn't exceptional, but it was fine. And I say I bring both of those games up to you basically to say I don't have a problem with the recent remasters we've gotten, and I think like Sega are totally capable of doing more remasters, especially if they don't rush the dev team. Then yeah.
Yeah, please don't rush the dev team, Sega, because if you do, I'm going to cry.
You would think they would have learned their lesson by now. Like, oh my god, like how have they not figured it? '06 should have been enough. Like that game got lambasted, like just critically. Everyone still remembers it. Everyone still like mentions it. It completely derailed the reputation of what was otherwise a gaming juggernaut. It makes him a laughing stock on the internet, and they're doing it. Why are they still doing it? I don't get it. Like it's insanity. Oh, but yeah, no. Basically, I think we're capable of receiving good remasters in the future. And yeah, is there anything you want to say before we move on to the next subtopic, Gamebox?
No, not really for this topic. I think we pretty much covered what we have for this one.
Okay, gotcha. Because I was gonna ask you a really interesting question. Because we would not do this episode unless we brought this up. Because this is our favorite part. This is at least my favorite part of discussing remasters and stuff. I want to hear what game you would want to see remastered. If you could only choose one, what game would you want to see remastered onto newer hardware? Why that is, and if you think it would sell well and go down well with people. I'm actually really interested. Like your full thoughts on one game you would love to see remastered onto newer hardware.
Well, obviously I'm going for Sonic Unleashed, but the reason why I say that is because I want to be able to play it on modern day hardware, like a PS4 or a PS5 or whatever the next big console is,
Mhm.
but mainly because there are issues in Sonic Unleashed you can fix with a remaster, and mainly just because like it's Sonic Unleashed, everyone wants the remaster of Unleashed, like nearly everyone
Yes.
wants it.
Especially since like people are like looking back at now realizing how much of a good game it was and how underrated it is.
Oh yeah.
Except the Sonic Heroes army. Okay, right between Heroes and Unleashed fans, and it's going crazy. Okay, blood is being shed.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
it.
I completely agree with you because Unleashed is the only modern Sonic game. Well, obviously excluding the storybook games and all the other spin-offs. Is the only mainline. Yeah, no, actually, it's the only mainline game out there that you cannot get anywhere legally unless it's on a older console. Like you cannot get it on Steam, and they don't have it on the Epic Game Store. You can't even play it through PlayStation Now anymore. The best you got is backwards compatibility on the. Yeah, I forgot about. You can play it on the X Series X because that has backwards compatibility with the 360, and not only that, but that's the ideal way to play it because it gets rid of loading issues and actually like improves the frame rate of the game. But that's it. Yeah, no, people have no. You can't even really emulate it that well because the RPCST emulator, there's a lot of like frame drops. It doesn't really run too well, and plus it's the PSD version of Unleashed, which was infamous for like how not so great it ran. And in Xenia, it doesn't even function on Xenia. Make it to the screen just blacking out and glitching. So yeah, no, there's literally no way to play it unless either you track down a old copy or you just buy it on your Xbox Series X. That's it. And I think that's a huge disservice to a mainline Sonic game. Like we're not talking about like a spin-off here. No, we're talking about like, one of the actual big releases that a lot of people enjoyed. So yeah, like the fact that it's not even on Steam is wild. You can get 3D Blast on Steam. Okay, why is Unleashed now and there? So yeah, no, just I think that definitely would be a good remaster, and they probably still have access to the assets that they use. They have the colors assets still there. They should have the Unleashed assets still available. So yeah, I think it'd be a pretty easy remaster, and I think it would sell really well because probably not a lot of people bought it because of how bashed it was on release. But now that people are warming up to it, I think a remaster would sell really well, especially one on the PS5, or it could take advantage of new gen hardware and run even better than it does in the Series X. That's not a diss towards the Series X. I'm saying that's a backwards compatibility experience, whereas a remaster it would run even better because it's programmed like specifically to run on like a PS5 and a Series S. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I end out this whole podcast and ask you this question without even stopping and realizing I didn't have an answer to this question. What game I'd want to see remastered? Oh wait, never mind. I do. That's really easy. Heroes. Yeah, no, Sonic Heroes. That's the game. Oh hey, look, dude, a Unleashed pick and a Sonic Heroes pick. That's cool. That's great. Yeah. I think Heroes needs a remaster more than the adventure games, and here's why. Okay, for like actually like three major reasons. So one, I never want the adventure games to get a remaster. I want them to get a remake. All right. Those games are too severe enough and too popular enough and too beloved to not and too dated, by the way, to not get the full on remake treatment. Okay. I'm talking about like a full Last of Us Part 1, a full freaking RE4 remake, like a full like actual visual overhaul and making the cutscenes look good, making the animations less janky. It'd be cool to actually play the game and Cole voice and all the new voices. Mike Pollock as Eggman, that'd be neat. I love the adventure voices, I really do, and I prefer something more saying like it'd be kind of cool to like see different takes on some of the dialogue with the newer voices. Yeah, I want the adventure games to actually for a second to take their time with those and have them be full on remakes. Second reason, you can get Adventure 1 and 2 on Steam. Like, they're still moderately available. You can still play them on Xbox backwards compatibility. Unfortunately, there's no 5, but that's because they removed them from the PlayStation Cloud streaming, and I have no clue why. But at the very least, more accessible than a game like Unleashed and especially Heroes. And that's especially why I bring up Heroes, by the way. There is no way to play Heroes, and the game has basically been forgotten about, okay? Is at the very least of Unleashed, you can play it on the Xbox Series S. Heroes, no. No, okay? You cannot buy it on Steam. You cannot play it on like a can. I think some PS3 models would back compatibility, but you can play it on very select PS3s. All right. I don't know how compatible Series S is to the very original Xbox, but if so then yeah, you could technically do Heroes. But the thing is that there's no digital version of Heroes. That doesn't exist. There's no way you can buy Heroes digitally at all. You have to go and track down a old copy of it, which there are very few of. I would know, by the way. I tracked down this game for the longest time and definitely and like fortunately got mine for a good price. But yeah, the copies of this game are very hard to find, and it's been forgotten about, and it is basically inaccessible to play on nearly every like newer console. To its credit, it is easy to emulate. It's very easy to pirate, but the thing is, not a lot of people, do emulation. Not a lot of people even know how to emulate. Even more people don't even know, like, have those tools to emulate. So, yeah, I just think a game as liked as Heroes and it makes as much contributions to the story as Heroes deserves to like be brought back in some capacity. And I understand why that is because I actually saw a video that was see if I can pull up the title. Basically, it went actual legal issues why they're able to bring Heroes to because the engine it ran on, like the graphics engine it ran on, is kind of like copyrighted, and so they'd have to request the rights to use that specific engine, but they can't because the people who made that engine don't exist anymore. And they became a part of EA, so they'd have to ask EA or like remake it from scratch, and it's just basically a huge hassle. I really want to find the video because it was a good video and he's a good creator, and I want. Yeah, that's basically legal issues. But if you're asking my solution for that, they can easily just redo it, guys. Okay, Heroes wasn't like the complex game ever made. It'd be really easy. It wouldn't be. I don't want to undermine how hard it is to develop games, but I don't think the job would be that bad. And yeah, that's basically what I was doing there. I think Heroes is not as much as Unleashed, not as much as Adventure 1 and 2, but I think Unleashed deserves one. Gamebox already said that, and Adventure 1 and 2 deserve a remake rather than a remaster. So yeah, I'm still trying to freaking pull up that fucking video. But anything you want to add to that, Gamebox?
No, not really.
Okay, bet. The video was titled. Here we go. Yeah, it's by Spontman. SPONTMAN man. Abandoned by Sega Sonic Heroes. He actually gives you like the. I did not know any of this before I watched this channel, and he's pretty awesome. So yeah, go watch that. But yeah, I'd like to see Heroes be brought back. I'd also love to see Shadow in 06, even despite their bad reputation, be playable. But I know that would never happen, so I'm not even gonna ask. With all that done and said, well, the normal facing is said and done, but whatever. With all that done, now. Here's the big question, the final question for you, Gamebox. Should Sega focus on doing these remasters and bringing these old games to the limelight? Or should they focus on original spin-offs and original mainline titles? This is going to turn into a Resident Evil podcast. I can't help but bring Resident Evil. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it on purpose. It just happens. But, the Resident Evil remake is coming out, and I've loved all the remakes we've gotten, but at the same time I'm like, man, I wish instead of like seeing these old familiar locations and these old familiar stories and these old familiar enemies, we'd have something new. We'd have new original spin-offs, and it's getting a little tiring seeing like all these remakes when instead we could be getting like original games in place, and dev time could be going into like getting us RE9 fast or whatever. So I'm curious, do you think they should like even waste the time of remasters? Or do you think that they shouldn't, and they should only focus on new stuff? And if you want to play an old Sonic game, then it's not that much of a hassle to console and find a track down a copy.
Well, I would, in all honesty, I would just say focus on I'd say focus on sorry. Pardon me, sorry.
You good?
I would just say focus with the newer projects, like what they're doing with Frontiers and like the 2D online games. And whenever they've got free time, or whenever there's like an idea, like a really good idea, they can focus on a remaster on um a game that just doesn't look well, like doesn't really look well made, and you can just go, we could add something to this and make it a little bit better. So yeah, pretty much I'd say focus on the original works and leave the whole remasters thing aside, unless if there's a good idea.
Okay, gotcha. That's actually that's a cool answer. I didn't yeah. Yeah, for me, I share the same opinions to do like with how to push into 2D games. I think they should focus on the mainline games, but in between gaps where they're working on these, they should outsource it to a trusted developer, and they can have at least one remaster per every mainline game. I wouldn't even say one remaster, man. They could do two. Okay, like I understand making a 2D original game from scratch, but like with a remaster, it's the same game. You're just making it run a newer console, playing like. I think it's completely doable in the span of like 5 to 6 years to have like two of those out. But yeah, no. I'd like to see. Future. I don't think they should stop at Origins and colors. I would like to see brought back. I'd like to see Generations be brought back. I screw it, guys. I'd like to see Lost Realm be playable on newer hardware. That's a very hard game to get a hold of. If you're not a gamer and if you don't have a Wii U, you can't play that game. So yeah, I'm glad I can't speak. I'm glad I finally got mine. Steam. But yeah, I'd like to see some of the older titles come back. It's just there's a lot of this franchise that's locked off if you only play on new gen, and I think that's sad. So they should, for the purpose of game preservation, they should bring back a lot of these older titles at some point or another down the line. And yeah, that's practically where I stand.
Nice.
All right, well, I think that does it for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sonic. And this is a really good episode. I like this one because like discussion around remasters and stuff, so I kind of want to like delve into that. Thought it would be a neat idea, and yeah, no, that's pretty much it, folks. So, Gamebox, what projects are you currently working on right now? I just want to bring attention to.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you, my lord.
Oh no, I was speaking over you. that was my problem.
Oh, sorry. Well, right now I'm still working on the Slime Box show. Backgrounds and all that are still being made, and editing is still in process. But production so far is looking really good.
All right, yeah, guys, the Slime Box Show episode 2 is coming. Me and King have seen like tidbits of it. We got King back working on some of the episodes, and yeah, no, it looked awesome. I cannot wait till this comes. Just stay tuned if you want to be there when the episode actually comes out. Gamebox's channel is in the description. Go over there and subscribe. Turn notifications so like the second it goes up, you see it and you're like, oh my god, go watch it. But yeah, what's up?
I'll set it to premiere.
yes, yeah, you literally have freaking you have a timer knowing I got the notification this thing's set to premiere, so I can know what I'm going to be doing, so I can sit down and watch it live as it happens. I love the premiere feature. I think it's cool. So yeah, go do that now. Yeah. Is there anything else you're working on?
For now, just the Slime Box show, but in the future I'm thinking of working on some comic dub series. My first one I've got in mind is a Sonic project, but again, those are just plans.
Yeah. All right, neat. Yeah. So in regards to doing, guys, I sound like a broken record, and I am at this point. I acknowledge that. The Sonic Omens video. I've been talking about it, I think, for the last 3 episodes. When is this thing finally gonna come out? So I had all the footage ready, and I was editing it on my PS4 using the PS4 Chef Factory because my PS5 Chef Factory is close to the point where it can't import video clips. So I was doing it on my PS4 Chef Factory, and then my PS4 broke. It literally all of it shut down. It erased my progress. And yeah, whenever I get like spare cash, I'm gonna send it in for. But as of right now, I literally can't load it up. The fan, like, I think the fan hit something, and like the fan's not working anymore. So every time I turn it on, it just overheats immediately and just shuts off. So yeah, no, and so now I'm having to use a unfamiliar new video editor in order to like edit it together. And it's thankfully easy to use, and I know what I'm doing with it. But unfortunately, the quality isn't to my liking of regards to like the video quality. And yeah, there's just like a lot of hiccups in the project. It's like the road does not want me. The road does not want a positive Sonic Omens video on YouTube. I'm still gonna get it out. Okay, for God's sakes, it's gonna come out. But yeah, I'm still working on that. I'm about halfway through it. I swear I'll get a point later this week. But yeah, that's what that video is. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I will have a Sonic X video in time for its 20-year anniversary, which I'm forward to. I'm working on that, and yeah, so tune into those. I will be live streaming all of Resident Evil 4 Remake when it drops, and that's my final Resident Evil. But be sure to tune in for that, and yeah, that's pretty much it on what I'm working on.
Nice.
All right. With that said, any last things you want to say to the audience, Gamebox?
Oh God, last words.
Last words, you gotta choose them carefully, okay? This is the last impression they're gonna get.
Someone's gonna get this joke, but this is just the random thing I can think of. So, do you ever imagine yourself in a frozen forest?
We're done. We're off.